Hi, I really wanted to make a video today, but I've got lots of work I need to do, so I've decided to do those two things at the same time. And I was hoping to do my answers video today in regards to the questions from my previous video, but I wanted to film something today and I've really got to get on with this work, so I thought I would make a video about me doing this. So I am auditioning for The Comedy of Errors, which is a Shakespeare play, one of his early plays, and I'm just basically working on my piece that I'll be doing in that audition. So I've got my laptop here, so there'll be some typing, clicking and reading. I've got my Shakespeare Bible here, a notebook and pencil, and also a copy of the play. So we were supposed to either choose a monologue from the play itself or a sonnet. Now I've decided to go with a sonnet because I found one that I really liked, and it's kind of self-contained, and I've only got a couple of days to prepare for this audition. But I have a synopsis of the play and I've read it a couple of times, but I want to read it again, just so I know the story really well. I know what it's about, I know who the characters are and stuff. Okay. Comedy of Errors. Synopsis. Because the law forbids merchants from Syracuse to enter Ephesus, and those two are the names of places, elderly Syracusan trader Aegeon faces execution when he is discovered in the city. He can only escape by paying a fine of 1,000 marks. He tells his sad story to Solinus, Duke of Ephesus. In his youth he married and had twin sons. On the same day a poor woman also gave birth to two twin boys, and he purchased these as slaves to his sons. Soon afterwards the family made a sea voyage and was hit by a tempest. Aegeon lashed himself to the mainmast with one son and one slave, while his wife was rescued by one boat, Aegeon by another. Aegeon never again saw his wife or the children with her. Recently his son Antipholus of Syracuse, now grown, and his son-slave Dromio of Syracuse left Syracuse on a quest to find their brothers. When Antipholus of Syracuse did not return, Aegeon set out in search of him. The Duke is moved by this story and grants Aegeon one day to pay his fine. That same day, Antipholus of Syracuse arrives in Ephesus. I think that is the right pronunciation. He arrives in Ephesus searching for his brother. He sends Dromio of Syracuse to deposit some money at the Centaur, an inn. He is confounded when the identical Dromio of Ephesus appears almost immediately, denying any knowledge of the money and asking him home to dinner, where his wife is waiting. Antipholus, thinking his servant is making insubordinate jokes, beats Dromio. Oh, poor Dromio. Dromio of Ephesus returns to his mistress, Adriana, saying that her husband refused to come back to his house and even pretended not to know her. Adriana, concerned that her husband's eye is straying, takes his news as confirmation of her suspicions. Antipholus of Syracuse, who complains, "I could not speak with Dromio since at first I sent him from the mart," meets up with Dromio, who now denies making a joke about Antipholus having a wife. Antipholus begins beating him. Oh, these guys are really getting the short end of the stick. Suddenly, Adriana rushes up to Antipholus and begs him not to leave her. The Syracusians cannot but attribute these strange events to witchcraft, remarking that Ephesus is known as a warren for witches. Antipholus and Dromio go off with this strange woman, the one to dinner and the other to keep the gate. Antipholus of Ephesus returns home for dinner and is enraged to find that he is rudely refused entry to his own house by Dromio of Syracuse, who is keeping the gate. He is ready to break down the door, but his friends persuade him not to make a scene. He decides instead to dine with a courtesan. Inside the house, Antipholus of Syracuse discovers that he is very attracted to his wife's sister, Luciana, telling her, "Train me not, sweet mermaid, why thy note to drown me in thy sister's flood of tears." She is flattered by his attentions, but worried about their moral implications. After she exits, Dromio of Syracuse announces that he has discovered that he has a wife, Nell, a hideous kitchen maid. He describes her as a spherical, like a globe. I could find out countries in her. Antipholus jokingly asks him to identify the countries, leading to a witty exchange in which parts of her body are identified with nations. Ireland is her buttocks, I found it out by the bogs. He claims he has discovered America and the Indies upon her nose, all over embellished with rubies, carbuncles, sapphires, declining their rich aspect to the hot breath of Spain, who sent whole armados of carracks to be ballast at her nose. This is one of Shakespeare's few references to America. The Syracusans decide to leave as soon as possible, and Dromio runs off to make travel plans. Antipholus is apprehended by Angelo, a goldsmith, who claims that he ordered a chain from him. Antipholus is forced to accept the chain, and Angelo says that he will return for payment. Antipholus of Ephesus dispatches Dromio of Ephesus to purchase a rope so that he can beat his wife Adriana for locking him out. Then is accosted by Angelo, who tells him, I thought to have taken you at the porcupine. And asked to be reimbursed for the chain. He denies ever seeing it and is promptly arrested. As he is being led away, Dromio of Syracuse arrives, whereupon Antipholus dispatches him back to Adriana's house to get money for his bail. After completing this errand, Dromio of Syracuse mistakenly delivers the money to Antipholus of Syracuse. The courtesan spies Antipholus wearing the gold chain and says he promised it to her. The Syracusans deny this and flee. The courtesan resolves to tell Adriana that her husband is insane. Dromio of Ephesus returns to the arrested Antipholus of Ephesus with the rope. Antipholus is infuriated. Adriana, Luciana, and the courtesan enter with a conjurer named Pinch, who tries to exorcise the Ephesians, who are bound and taken to Adriana's house. The Syracusans enter carrying swords, and everybody runs off for fear, believing that they are the Ephesians. Out of the vengeance, after somehow escaping their bonds, Adriana reappears with henchmen who attempt to bind the Syracusans. They take sanctuary in a nearby priory where the abbess resolutely protects them. The Duke and Aegeon enter on their way to Aegeon's execution. Adriana begs the Duke to force the abbess to release her husband. Then a messenger from Adriana's house runs in and announces that the Ephesians have broken loose from their bounds and tortured Dr. Pinch. The Ephesians enter and ask the Duke for justice against Adriana. Aegeon believes he has found his own son, Antipholus, who will be able to bail him, but both Ephesians deny having ever seen him before. Suddenly, the abbess enters with the Syracusan twins, and everyone begins to understand the confused events of the day. Not only are there two sets of twins reunited, but the abbess reveals that he is Aegeon's wife, Amelia. The Duke pardons Aegeon. All exit into the abbey to celebrate the reunification of the family. Okay, now, so that is seriously brief because it doesn't touch upon some of the things that I've read in other synopsises. So a lot of stuff it misses out, like the fact that Amelia, the mum, joins a nunnery in the town of Ephesus, and that Adriana's sister Luciana, who lives with her, she's a bit of a feminist, I think, that was Wikipedia I just read. You can't trust Wikipedia, really. Ooh, there's a modern take on a comedy of errors with Bette Midler in it. And apparently Bollywood has made 5 films based on it. Cool. The Duni Char. And what else? Oh, it doesn't say the others. So, the characters, Solinus is the Duke of Ephesus, Aegeon is a merchant in Syracuse, Melia is his lost wife, now Lady Abbess at Ephesus because she's joined a nunnery. Then there's Antipholus of Ephesus and Antipholus of Syracuse, the twin brothers belonging to the different towns. And then there's Dromio of Ephesus and Dromio of Syracuse, twin brothers belonging to the different town, the twins. Adriana is the wife of Antipholus in Ephesus, and they live with her sister Luciana. And then there's also a Luce, L-U-C-E, a Luce, who's Adriana's maid, Balthazar, who is a merchant, Angelo, a goldsmith, courtesan who is a prostitute, first merchant is a friend to Antipholus of Syracuse, second merchant is a guy to whom Angelo is in debt, Dr. Pinch, a conjuring schoolmaster, and then there's a few other officers, headsmen and attendants, which I assume may all be played by a couple of the same people. Okay. The sonnet, I'm doing sonnet 130, and it goes like this. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress when she walks treads on the ground. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress when she walks treads on the ground. And yet by heaven I think my love as rare as any she belied with false compare. I'm gonna eat this, which is an Eat Natural bar, and it's got cranberries, macadamia nuts and dark chocolate in it. I think it's like completely organic. So, this poem is about, he compares his lover to loads of different things, loads of different cheesy romantic things, and basically says that she's actually not as good as those things. The speaker says he has seen roses separated by colour into red and white, but he sees no such roses in her cheeks. And he says the breath that reeks from his mistress is less delightful than perfume. In the third quatrain, he admits that though he loves her voice, music still hath a far more pleasing sound. And that, though he has never seen a goddess, his mistress, unlike a goddess's, walks on the ground. In the couplet, however, the speaker declares that by heaven he thinks his love is rare and valuable, as any she belied with false compare, that is, any love in which false comparisons were invoked to describe the loved one's beauty. Any love in which false comparisons were invoked. Great. He thinks his love is rare and valuable. That is, any love in which false comparisons were invoked to describe the loved one's beauty. Okay, I don't quite understand that yet, but I will. It's an elaborate joke upon love poetry common to Shakespeare's day, so it's kind of like ironic. And it's so well conceived that the joke remains funny today. Yes, I agree. It has a rhetorical structure. In the first quatrain, the speaker spends one line on each comparison between his mistress and something else: the sun, coral, snow, wires. The one positive thing in the whole poem, some part of his mistress is like. In the second and third quatrains, he expands the descriptions to occupy 2 lines each, so that roses/cheeks, perfume/breath, music/voice, and goddess/mistress each receive a pair of unrhymed lines. This creates the effect of an expanding and developing argument and neatly prevents the poem, which does after all rely on a single kind of joke for its 12 lines, from becoming stagnant. That is a danger, actually, isn't it? Because it is basically like the same joke over and over again. But I'm still thinking it's possibly a good one. Okay. So I'm going to deconstruct what it means now into ordinary English that I can understand. So line 1. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. So my lover's eyes are not at all like the sun. It's not a very complicated line, that one, is it? Coral is far more red than her lips red. Coral is way more red than her lips. If snow be white, if snow be white, where then her breasts are dun. What does dun mean? Dark and gloomy. Dark and gloomy, or somewhat grey. Okay. It's a bit gross. Snow be white, snow is white and her breasts are grey and gloomy. That's what I will call it. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. If hairs are wires, then black wires throw on her head. It's not the most complicated of the sonnets, is it? It still makes sense in its original form. I have seen roses, colours separated to red and white. But I don't see a rose in her cheeks. Oh, I was forgetting to put the punctuation in. I'm gonna just do that. So it's really important because it helps me know how to say it in the sentence structures. In some perfumes, some perfumes are more delightful smells than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. Delightful smell. So some perfumes are more delightful smells than the breath my lover reeks. It's right, really crude that really, isn't it? It's like saying, oh, my girlfriend's breath reeks. I hate that word, reeks. It's so gross. Okay, I love to hear her speak. But I know music is more of a pleasing sound. Music is more of a pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go, so I admit I've never seen a goddess walk. But my mistress, when my mistress walks, she walks on the ground. She walks on the ground, meaning she doesn't float. Like goddesses, you think they may float rather than walk. Okay, so now it's the couplet at the end, which I'm struggling to understand a little bit. And yet by heaven, I think my love as rare. So by heaven means, I guess he swears that he thinks the love is rare and valuable, as any she belied with false compare. So after all that, he still thinks that his love is rare and valuable, and she cannot be compared, even though he's just compared her continuously. Okay, I need to look this up a little bit. I think I need to find out more about it because I'm struggling with that slightly. Yahoo Answers. Okay, this is interesting. To say those overblown things about a woman is to belie her, that is, to misrepresent her, not represent her realistically. So the final couplet tells the truth about the woman the poet loves. He sees her in all her mortal imperfection, yet he considers her every bit as rare and lovely, as if she really did have all those goddess-like attributes. Okay, so let's read it again. And yet by heaven I think my love is rare. Okay, so although I swear my love is rare and valuable, I will just chuck in there because that's helpful. So is there any, there's no punctuation until the final bit. Okay. And yet by heaven I think my love is rare. As any she belied with false compare. So, although I swear my love is rare and valuable, to lie about her with false descriptions would misrepresent her. Not technically in the same amount of words that he's said it, but hey, anything that makes sense to you as the meaning of it, go with it. Okay, so put into ordinary English, it would go something like this. My lover's eyes are not at all like the sun. The coral is way more red than her lips. Snow is white, then her breasts are grey and gloomy. If hairs are wires, then black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses' colours separated to red and white, but I don't see a rose in her cheeks. Some perfumes are more delightful smells than the breath my lover reeks. I love to hear her speak, but I know music is more of a pleasing sound. I admit I've never seen a goddess walk, but when my lover walks, she walks on the ground. Although I swear my love is rare and valuable, to lie about her with false descriptions would misrepresent her. Is what it means in normal English. So, okay. Well, when I can't act that for you because it wouldn't be very relaxing to listen to, so I'm going to take a break now. So I will speak to you later, and I will do the answers video as my next one. Okay, bye.